Join me for a walk around the charming city of Lublin, a city known for its multiculturalism, a city that never ages due to the large number of students. One of the characteristic architectural elements of the city of Lublin, alongside the Lublin Castle, is the Krakowska Gate, which is one of the few remaining fortification elements of the city. It has been standing here for almost 700 years.
I chose Poland because I had family who went here and they said it was a great experience, and they said they had studied medicine and traveled across Europe, and so I wanted to do the same thing. So my favorite part about Old Town is the Old Town in the summer. There's markets open, there's hundreds if not thousands of people. The energy it's lively, it's going, it's happening. One of the main appeals of Lublin for me is the Old Town because of its old European feel. I know Lublin is an ancient city. It goes back to, I think, the early 1300s, even if not earlier. And you can still feel the history here. Walking around, strolling with your friends. I used to go on walks here when I was new, and I'd always be amazed at how different it was than New York City.
The Dominican Order is closely connected to the culture of the city of Lublin. They have always participated in important events concerning the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, such as the signing of the Union of Lublin. The Dominicans arrived in Lublin in the 13th century and functioned in this city until the end of the 19th century, when after the January uprising, the Tsar ordered the dissolution of the religious orders. The fact that the Dominicans were very close to the people of Lublin is evidenced by the fact that upon hearing the Dominicans were to be dissolved, the inhabitants of Lublin rebelled. What was the reason for the Dominicans' growth in power and fame? Was it due to the relics of the Holy Cross tree that allowed them to expand? Many pilgrims came here, but also many people who were willing to donate money so that the monastery could develop. As a preaching order, the Dominicans were tasked not only with spreading the gospel, but also with education. In the 7th century, they established the first higher school, known as the Studium Generale. Unfortunately, due to the wars that plagued the Commonwealth at that time, it only operated for about 40 years. The Dominicans also ran a pharmacy which continued to operate until their suppression. The Dominicans returned to Lublin after World War I, but in 1939 World War II broke out. This time they did not lose their property or their monastery, and they returned after the war. Since the end of the war, the building has housed a children's home, as well as the Hans Christian Andersen puppet and actor theater.
I love the church at Old Town, and I go there often to pray, and I love the architecture of not only the church but the surrounding buildings. It's not only a place to find peace but also to enjoy the scenery and the history of Poland.
The things I like the most is the environment, and also the atmosphere is really peaceful. And when you go into the Old Town, you feel like there are a lot of cultural things, and the buildings, although it's a small town, but you just feel relaxed when you walk around.
Well, first of all, in the United States, there are advertisements about Lublin, and I was really interested because I knew it wasn't a large city and a small city. It was just right. It was just a medium-sized city with a lot of culture, a lot of international students here, and I heard good things about the university, so I was very interested in coming here. The first time I arrived in Poland, I was in Warsaw, and I got to meet a lot of Polish people and international students, and had a wonderful time just learning about new things, Europe, because in the United States, our country is only 250 years old, so you come to Europe and Poland, it has so much culture and so much history. It's a wonderful thing.
We are on Archidiakońska Street, and we will stop for a moment to learn about the legend concerning Lublin's coat of arms. As Lublin's coat of arms features a goat, how did it come about? When the Tatars invaded Lublin in ancient times, the urban population, upon learning of the approaching danger, gathered women, children, and the elderly, and all fled to the ravines. Meanwhile, in the panic, they forgot about the most important thing, without which one cannot survive, namely food and water. When they managed to escape from the advancing enemy, they realized that they might not survive due to the lack of food. Then they heard rustling in the bushes. When they went there, they saw a goat, thanks to which people could survive until the enemy left the city. Nowadays, in the Lublin coat of arms, you can find a young goat climbing a beautiful green vine.
So I actually, like I said, I have Polish roots, so I lived around this area before. And I kind of knew Lublin, not as much as I know it now, because I actually live here. So I was kind of aware what kind of city it was. It was like it had an old town and some newer areas.
To be honest with you, I didn't really hear specifically something about Lublin, but what I heard was like Polish people are nice people, and it's a good place to study medicine. Actually, I am really interested in neurosurgery, and a lot of good neurosurgeons are actually coming from Poland, and neurosurgery department in Lublin is one of the best. So that was the thing that really was motivating me to apply for studying in Lublin.
We are on Giedroyć Square. From here, you can admire the panoramic view of the city. A city that has developed and is modern, but also one where you can encounter architecture and history. Behind us, we see the buildings of the Dominican Fathers Monastery, who arrived here in the 13th century and are deeply ingrained in the culture of Lublin.
Old Town is it's cute. That's how I can put it. It's very cute and quaint, and it has a lot of activities to do, especially in the summer. We love coming down here as students to dine at all the restaurants here. There's even a bubble tea place. There's lots of little, what do you call them? I guess like there's a lot of vendors during the summer where you can buy things. So it's a nice place to escape from the university because you can really see how it was in the older days, and I really appreciate that about Lublin.
When I first come to Poland, I'm actually surprised that because in Taiwan we were not so get used to know how Eastern or Middle Europe looks like. So when I first came to Poland, I feel like, oh, it's quite surprised and very beautiful from what I expected.
I have been to Lublin the first time when I was 13, so I had already seen the city. Anything new I knew about it, not so much. I've been in the old town before, not much has changed. For me, coming from USA, coming to Poland, the architecture is very different. So to me, Lublin was a bigger city than what I was used to. European style, like buildings over here were just a little bit different than what I was used to, but not much more I can remember.
One of the reasons it was very easy for me to adjust to life in Lublin, growing up in New York City, I was born and raised there, so I grew up in a very diverse area, hearing a lot of different languages. So I'm used to being in many stores, neighborhoods where no one speaks English. So I think for me it was very easy to adjust here. And there is a big Polish community in New York. And also the fact for my program in Medical University of Lublin, I have the opportunity to do my last 3 years back in New York in the hospitals there. So I feel I'm getting the best of both worlds to do my theoretical classroom portions here, get to experience life in Poland, and then go home to New York City to do my clinicals.
We are in a place where until the second half of the 19th century there was a church dedicated to Saint Michael the Archangel. According to legend, the church was built by Leszek the Black in the 13th century. Around the church, not only spiritual life but also the daily life of the inhabitants was taking place. After many reconstructions, the church was characterized by a high tower which could be seen from a distance of 5 miles. Why was the church, which was 600 years old, demolished? Because this high tower was at the risk of collapsing. The city's inhabitants did not have the money to rebuild it, as various wars plagued the Commonwealth, and during the time when the church was being demolished, Poland was already under partitions. No one thought to leave the building so that it could delight our eyes. Poet Józef Czechowicz wrote about this non-existent church. On the green square, stars shine through the Gothic ribs of the church from the air. Legend has it that when the Krakow prince Leszek the Black set out to help Lublin, which has been attacked by the Jodwigian tribe, he arrived to find the city already ravaged and burned. He was about to give up when he slept under an oak tree that was once here. While he slept, Saint Michael the Archangel appeared to him, handing him a sword and saying, "Leszek, son of Kazimierz, pursue the enemy." Leszek the Black woke up emboldened, chased away the Jodwigians, defended them, and freed the prisoners. Currently, we can admire the reconstructed ruins of the city, which serve the inhabitants as well as tourists for spending a pleasant time. Various concerts and other cultural attractions are also held there.
If I was told correctly, you're not supposed to touch it because it is unlucky to touch because someone was, in the past, was executed on that stone, and that person was unjustly accused and was actually innocent. So that is why that stone is here, and there's a sign behind it that says, "Do not touch" or "Do not stand on," because it is unlucky.
I knew nothing about Poland or Lublin. I came on a holiday about 10 years ago to Krakow, never knowing I would live here. I loved it. Well, one of my best friends in New York did this program, and she's currently a doctor right now in Chicago. So I got to see a good success story, so it seemed like a good opportunity for me. One of my favorite things about this old town compared to other European old towns, like for example Warsaw, here it's original as opposed to many old towns that have been recreated. So since this survived, this is one of the few cities that survived, especially the history of Poland from World War II and the occupation. So the fact that this is still standing as it was, I think is pretty magnificent. It's almost like a living museum, as opposed to many parts of Europe where it's beautiful and historical, but it was recreated. Many of it's rebuilt, so I think that's really cool about this old town.
I've heard some of my best friends, they have been studying here for a few years and they recommend me to study here. Not also the quality of English and everything, including the education system, is pretty good in Poland. And people are nice here, including the weather. Because in Taiwan, the weather is too hot and humid compared to Poland. It's pretty snowy, and sometimes it has some raining day, but not that much.
Behind me is the second of the gates, the Grodzka Gate, also known as the Jewish Gate. Why? Because this gate connected two worlds, the Christian world and the Jewish world. The Grodzka Street, where we are now, is the street that goes uphill. In the tenements adjacent to the Grodzka Gate, remnants of the defensive walls were found. It is said that the city has deep roots here, draws strength from it, and can grow and develop thanks to it.
My favorite spot in Old Town, I would say, is the main square where the Rynek, the bazaar, is. I really like the architecture and the way that the buildings are styled. I think that they're very beautiful.
Basically, I decided to study in Poland because I saw the possibility to study in English, and it wasn't that far away from home, so it's basically 5 hours, and I decided to study in Poland, in Lublin.
I know that Lublin was temporarily the capital of Poland before, and then they moved it, but I'm not sure what the timeline was.
It was one of the cities that had the architecture, like you have the old town, you have the new town, and I really liked it. I liked the people, and after passing the exam I made the decision to stay here and to continue like the studies, and it is a great choice. The teachers are really nice. There is a lot of possibilities, a lot of practice, and I think if you're going to choose this university, you're going to be satisfied and happy.
Before I came here, not much honestly. I was just coming here for the European experience, and I'm glad I came here. It's a beautiful country, or a beautiful city. I chose Lublin. The university I joined back in Dubai had a collaboration with the university here, Medical University of Lublin. So I decided that I want to undertake this program so that I get an experience of not only Dubai but also Poland. My friends and I have been on this path a lot. We have walked around Old Town a lot. We have eaten and made great memories together. It's just been an absolutely beautiful experience, and I'll really miss it once I leave.
We are on the other side of the Grodzka Gate, also known as the Jewish Gate. From the 16th century until 1939, when World War II broke out, this place was inhabited by the Jewish population. What is behind me now is a square that was created in the second half of the 20th century. It is said that the architects were inspired by the Royal Square in Paris. The square was built on the ruins of the Jewish city, which was destroyed by the Germans during World War II by 98%. You can see a lighthouse that shines despite the sunny day. It commemorates the residents who are no longer with us.
I like this place. This is like the Lublin Castle. It's located in the Old Town, and this is a very popular tourist place. A lot of foreigners come here. There's a museum here, and then there is the church you can also see. So it's a good example of Polish history.
The church for me is the nicest place. Actually, there are some of them, but one of them in the Old Town is a very humble church, very peaceful. I love it, and I think that's one of the reasons that I will come back to Lublin after graduation to visit it again. I love it.
Poland, yes, that's very interesting. So I did want to do a study abroad in college, and I didn't have an opportunity to. So that's why I heard about Poland, and that's why I chose Poland. Actually, one of my family friends is going to Silesia for college, so I wanted to come here to Lublin. Why Lublin? Because I heard it's a very pretty place, and as I've come here, I've experienced such really nice people, and it has great proximity to other cities like Zakopane or Warsaw and Krakow, so that's why I wanted to come to Poland.
I know Poland because for Chopin, the musician.
People are extremely nice. They are very supportive. And I started to realize this when I was having conversations with my professors. If they know that you are trying so hard, so they do their best to help you out.
We are located on the castle hill, and behind me you can see a building that bears no resemblance to the castle left by Casimir the Great in the 14th century. The building you can admire today is a structure erected at the beginning of the 19th century as a prison, which served this function until the second half of the 20th century. Currently, the National Museum in Lublin is located here.
I wanted to study abroad, and my parents were able to reach out to an agency that would help me to study abroad. So it ends up being settled in Poland, and they picked Lublin for me. So I ended up studying in Lublin. It's the first city where I had the European experience, because Poland is my first European country to visit. I mean, I would have to say the Krakowska Gate, the opening of the Krakowska Gate into the old town seems I enjoy it.
Upon entering the castle courtyard, our eyes are drawn to two buildings. The first of them is the donjon, which is the first masonry building constructed on the castle hill. The second masonry structure erected here is the chapel of the Holy Trinity.
I knew about Poland. My family's from Poland. I have a big portion of my family that actually was from Vilna. But obviously, knowing Vilna, you know about Poland, you know about Lublin, Poznań, Wrocław, you know about everything. It's a wonderful, wonderful, historically wonderful place. The first place I came here, when I saw the castle, it was a mesmerizing place. You don't see anything like this in the United States. You don't see these kind of buildings in the United States. The kind of history that you get from here is fantastic. You could feel almost every brick that you're moving by. Yes, they've remodeled, obviously. They've made this place into such a beautiful, more adventurous area to be in. But if you could imagine, 400 years ago, 500 years ago, all these stones, all of these rocks, these bricks, we're used to defend the city. We're used to have this enormous area to have many people gathering here. All the kings would come here. It's just amazing to be here. Compared to the United States, we didn't really have kings there, so this is wonderful.
Lublin Castle has its roots in the 14th century, when Casimir the Great decided to surround the castle hill with defensive walls and build a masonry castle. During the Jagiellonian era, the Lublin Castle enjoyed its heyday. Although it did not serve as a royal castle, King Władysław Jagiełło himself visited here about 16 times. Likewise, the sons of Casimir Jagiellon stayed here under the care of Jan Długosz for 3 years. As the Jagiellonian era drew to a close, Lublin Castle lost its significance. The wars of the 17th century also brought the castle to ruins. And in such a state, it remained until the beginning of the 19th century, when the authorities decided to erect a prison here.
Old Town is really magical, especially if you come in the winter or you come in the summer. In the summer, they have a beautiful fountain, and they have a beautiful fountain show you can watch for I guess it was an hour. During the winter, it's really pretty. You just walk and see. There's a White Castle, and there's beautiful bridges, and there's a lot of churches you can go into, and it's really peaceful, and it's really pretty to go see them. And it's really just nice to like take a walk in the evenings and go into like restaurants and just see the nightlife in Lublin. Everything's really close by. You can actually, it's walking distance, so you can take boats. Boats are really nice, they're safe, they're great. You can take buses, you can like bicycle anywhere. Everything's really close by, so it's easy to like go to different places.
We can learn about what the city looked like in the late 16th century from the mural behind me. The mural was created by a student from the Faculty of Arts in the early 2000s. It is based on the engraving by Hogenberg and Brown. The engraving by Hogenberg and Brown was a 7-volume work depicting the cities of the world at that time. The city of Lublin was also included in such an atlas. In the foreground, we can see the royal ponds that no longer exist. The second plan shows the buildings of the Lublin of that time. If we are already talking about the royal ponds, it's worth telling the legend of how Lublin got its name. One beautiful day, a prince was passing through these lands with his retinue. When he arrived at this place, he decided to rest for a while. While resting, he found the place very charming and wanted to know the name of this town. He saw some fishermen nearby and called them over. The fishermen said that the place had no name because only the prince could name towns. The prince did not want to leave this place, leaving it still nameless. He came up with an idea that the first fish caught by the fishermen would give the name to the town. Unfortunately, the fishermen caught 2 fish, a pike and a tench. The prince thought that a pike was not a good name for a town because pike is a predator, and the prince did not want the town to be inhabited by people who are strongly unfriendly. Besides being handsome, the prince was also intelligent. He thought and thought, pike or tench, pike or tench. When the pike was thrown back into the water, only the tench was left. And in this way the town received its name, Lublin.
In here is nice and good weather and like good people around here, so I decided to come.
I would say like I recommend the food in here because like in Thailand the food of them are spicy and I cannot eat spicy at all.
This university is different from my country because of this university is not stuck in together. The building is like it's not in the same
area.
Yeah.
The place that I like the most is CSK, which is like there are a lot of like art stuff and theater, and so like and the park around there is really good because it's like I like to walk around and like see like beautiful scenes.
I heard about the school mostly because I was interested in joining MUL. So I was interested and I heard about how the teachers are great, the population, it's a small town and it's really great because I like being in like small places with students, and like teachers are like really close to each other. And Old Town's really pretty, so if you guys want to go see castles, if you want to see museums or restaurants, like you can get food like Italian or Georgian or even Polish food is really great. Old Town has really great restaurants.